While many people have loads of handhelds, just as you can see on the screen right here, I only have two, a Switch and a Retro Pocket 2S. I have had a Mini Mini Plus, an N64, a Game Boy Advance, and a Game Boy Advance SP, but I sold them all, so I don't have them anymore. So, with emulation, you want to experience nostalgia. So this is my list of my favorite systems to experience the retro systems in as much authenticity as you can. So this list will go through all Nintendo systems and all PlayStation systems. So all Nintendo systems up to Nintendo Switch and all PlayStation systems up to PS3. And I will be going through Xbox and Xbox 360, but they'll be combined together. So to put this into full, this is my handheld system collection dream. While there is overlap over systems, in my opinion, these are my favorite and the ones that I would enjoy the most. While I'm not putting Sega in here, for any Sega fans, I do recommend the RG Arc D or RG Arc S. Okay, so this list will go through in order of how hard it is to run each system. So the first is NES. There actually aren't many great ways to play NES in a small form factor or really cheap price, except family clones. Please don't buy family clones. So my first choice here is the Mini Plus. So I was gonna put the Mini Plus, but I realized the GKD Pixel came out, so the Mini Plus is replaced by the Pixel here. So second is the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Overall, I love the RG Nano. The screen is great and the cost is great. Of course, the best is the Analog Pocket, but that is super expensive. The RG Nano has a great screen for Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, and it's so small and pocketable too. Technically, all of the funky devices are good, but the RG Nano just looks like a Game Boy, giving it a point, at least in my book. I may be going a bit off order here, but third is the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance is a weird system to emulate because of its screen size. So, while I do like the Retro Pocket Flip for this, the other option is the Mini V4. I like the V4 for this over the Plus or the V3 because the V4 is really good for Game Boy Advance. Its screen size is almost perfect scaling to it. So, if you have a high budget and want to play Game Boy Advance, then yeah, get the Retro Pocket Flip. You get a nice Game Boy Advance SP or DS form factor. But if you don't want to spend a whole bunch, just get the Mini V4. Its buttons are great, its screen is great, and everything works good. I keep on bringing up Miyoo products, so I'm going to go through this really fast. The SNES will again go to a Miyoo product. No, it's not. It's going to be replaced by the GKD Pixel yet again. Alright, so for fifth is the PlayStation 1. So technically, again, the Mini Plus can do this, but I like the Retro Pocket 2S for this because the screen is a bit nicer, and it has two Hall Effect concave sticks, which are good for games like Ape Escape, which require a DualShock controller. I may be going a bit out of order here again, but I'm going to do the DS now. I hate emulating this system because of its dual screens. So, for any price setup, I would totally recommend the ANEO Flip DS. It's not out yet, but it would be great because of its dual screens. But that is a pricey Windows system, so the best overall is the Retro Pocket 3 Plus or 4. The Retro Pocket 3 Plus and 4 is good if you're trying to play dual screen DS games. But if you're trying to play one screen DS games, I'd again recommend the Retro Pocket 2S because it can run it perfectly, and the screen is great for one screen DS. But because of the prices of DS Lites now, you can just go onto Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and find a DS Lite, and then you can go and get an R4 card and an SD card, put it all together, and you got a DS Lite system that can play all DS games perfectly. Maybe not all of them, but I think it's enough, right? So again, we have a super annoying system to emulate. It's the N64. So for the N64, again I want to bring out the Retro Pocket 2S. It's the cheapest option that can do it well. It doesn't really have the right buttons, but it's pretty good for just playing N64. But I do want to add that the RG Arc D and Arc S, even though it is made for Sega games, as long as you're playing games with just a D-pad and the buttons, it is a good option because it has a 6-button layout. So if you are trying to play just a D-pad game, then I would recommend that. But I think that the Retro Pocket 2S overall is the best for this. Okay, so now I'm going to do the PSP. Again, I'm going to bring up the Retro Pocket 3 Plus or 4. They have good buttons and a perfect screen for PSP. Getting a PSP and modding it is also a great choice here because it's cheap and will run any game flawlessly because it is running natively. But if you do want to get a retro system, again, the Retro Pocket 3 Plus or 4 works great here. So, maybe controversial, but I'm putting the GameCube and PS2 together in the same category, mainly because they have the same control scheme and they have the same power. Yes, I know the GameCube has the joystick on the top and the controller looks different, but overall it's the same, okay? So if you're playing very lightweight games, I want to bring up the Retro Pocket 2S because of its screen and analog triggers. But if you're going to play the bulk of GameCube and PS2, I want to bring up the Retro Pocket 4 Pro, 4, and A-Note and 2. So the A-Note and 2 should be able to play everything at an upscale. It should be perfectly fine. But its price is quite a high amount, considering that the Retro Pocket 4 Pro and 4 exist. So they can't do every single GameCube game, but most of them should be able to go with at least a bit of an upscale. They both have great controls, and they actually use the same sticks, Hall Effect concave sticks, so they're really good. And just to say, this is the last place you'll end up seeing the Retro Pocket 2S. Now for Wii. So there's a lot of problems because you can't make something work like a Wiimote easily. So, in my opinion, the best option is like just a Wii itself if you truly want to only play Wii games. But again, I'm going to recommend the Retro Pocket 4 Pro and the A-Note and 2 because they just are high power Android devices and most games on Wii should be able to run fine. It's just, if you want to play a game like Wii Sports, you don't really have the full motion control, like, aspect of it. That's with all systems. It's nothing that the A-Note 2 or Retro Pocket 4 Pro did wrong. It's just, there's no easy way to do it. So Switch isn't as annoying as the Wii, but its emulation support is pretty bad. So I want to bring up two things, the A-Note 2 and the Steam Deck. I personally like the A-Note 2 better overall, because of its form factor and nicer controls, but the Steam Deck will probably give you more performance and maybe better battery life. Don't quote me on that one though. But I do want to again bring up a second-hand Switch V1. So Switch V1s are hackable switches using an RCM jig. I'm not going to say that here, it's a long video, I might make that a separate video. But that one can run all of your games natively, so you won't have any lag like you would in Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch emulator on the Odin 2. So I would recommend just going for a Switch V1, and if you can, just hack it up, and it'll work great. Next is the PS Vita. You may ask, why is it so far up? Why is it even above Switch? Well, that's because the software to emulate it isn't great. It can emulate, I want to say, about 60% of games. So, yes, the A-Note 2 has the screen for it, the buttons for it, the CPU can definitely do it. But the software side of things just can't play all the games. So if you're getting one of these retro handhelds to play PS Vita, it won't work. Like, no matter if you get Windows, Linux, Android. So the best option here is to just buy a secondhand PS Vita. They are quite expensive now, but as long as you can just mod it up, or if you don't want to be a pirate, you can legally get your games and just play them natively, you'll have way more support and you'll have a much better time than you do on a system that isn't made to run PS Vita. Okay, last but definitely not least is the PS3, Xbox, and Xbox 360. Those are the hardest systems to emulate, and I want to bring up the software side just isn't there. The emulator can run, I think, about 65% of the games. So just take that with not a grain of salt. I want you to keep that in mind as you go about if you are emulating these systems. So the one I want to bring up is the ROG Ally. And that's a chip that is almost as powerful, if not as powerful, as the 7840U that is found in systems like the ANEO Kun. But it has a great form factor, and I really like how it looks. So, the Steam Deck could do this, but it's closed source Linux, and I don't really think that it'll run as well. Any Windows device can run these three systems, of course, as I said, at the same compatibility rate, as I said earlier, but keep in mind that the ROG Ally is one of the cheaper systems that still has a good CPU, so that's why I put that one in here. Other good ones, as I said, ANEO Kun. The ANEO Slide is good if you want to have keyboard controls. I like the GPD, like, folding ones because of their nice clamshell design. Those are just some of the ones I enjoy. It's not important which one you get because most of them will come with a 7840U as long as you pay enough money. But it's just ROG Ally is in a perfect sweet spot for price, performance, and look, in my opinion. Everything I said in this video, the Mew Mini Plus, Retro Pocket 2S, Odin 2, Retro Pocket 4 and 4 Pro, etc. All of that will be left in the comments. You can buy them from there if you want. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so I missed a few systems. The systems that I missed are really easy to run. They can run on anything. The Mew Mini Plus. They're just super easy to run systems. I missed the Pokemon Mini, the Virtual Boy, and the Game & Watch. I actually really love the Pokemon Mini. It's such a cool console, but those just aren't too easy to run, and I didn't want to put them in to just fill up the video. And for the people that say, oh, WiiWare is different than Wii, dude, the Dolphin emulator can do WiiWare. That's it. I'm done. I don't want to talk about that part. Okay, so these are my systems that I care to emulate. So, for low-end systems, like the PS1 and below, get the Mew Mini or Mew Mini Plus. The Retro Pocket 2S can also do those systems with dual analog sticks and Android, but the Retro Pocket 2S can also do N64 and PS1 perfectly, and PS1 can do a DualShock controller, so it is better for PS1 to get the Retro Pocket 2S. For GameCube and PS2, I recommend the Odin 2, Retro Pocket 4 Pro, or Retro Pocket 3 Plus. For Switch, it's Odin 2 or Steam Deck. And again, I want to emphasize this for these three systems, the Switch, the PSP, and the DS. You can get them for relatively cheap, and they're really easy to mod now. So I would recommend just going to pick one of those up if you want to focus on those systems specifically. And last but not least, again, PS3, Xbox 360, the ROG Ally because of its nice looking body and its good CPU internally. Thank you so much for watching. Again, just subscribe, please. It helps out a lot. And yeah, thanks for watching.